Mags Harnett and I'm a visual artist. I'm on the tour guide panel and artist panel for the National Gallery, facilitating workshops there. And I worked last year with the Lexicon. Last summer, in the context of the death of George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter movement, there was also, not long afterwards, the death of John Hume. On his death, I was reading a quote that he had talked about difference as being the essence of humanity and difference being an accident of birth. That gave me the idea for this workshop on depicting diversity. I suppose I should say at this point that I'm also the mother of 2 mixed-race children. And what really struck a chord with me was this idea of difference not being a choice. And I suppose I'm thinking about, where did racism come from? And if we learn to be racist, surely we can also learn not to be racist. And so I wanted to explore this with children in the classroom. So several bodies came together to make this workshop happen. One of those was Children's Books Ireland and the Dún Laoghaire-Rathdown libraries. They provided for the teachers who were partaking in this workshop a resource pack which included lists of reading ideas for dealing with the topic of diversity, and also some books that were gifted for the teachers. So the first part of the workshop was linked to the National Gallery. If it was normal times, of course, we would have loved to have brought the children into the National Gallery and looked at some paintings with them. So the first part actually was me bringing the paintings to the children in the classroom on the whiteboard, talking to them through Zoom. So we looked at the paintings together, and what we were looking at was 3 different depictions of people and how the artists depicted those people. Part of the National Gallery's resources as well was 3 different responses, one from a curator, one from an artist, and one from a tour guide to the 3 paintings. So all of this together become part of the first part of the workshop. The second part of the workshop was kind of a discussion part, where the children went away on their own for a moment and thought about 5 things that were different about them. So we're thinking about what's different about me, not about looking and pointing the finger at what's different about the other person. So I think the first step is reflecting on our own differences before we judge someone else's. And we talked about which ones were differences that they'd chosen and which ones were accidents of birth. The whole crux of it is, if you don't decide, if you don't choose to have a difference, then how can someone criticize you for it? We can criticize people, can't we, in life for things that they've done. If you have blue eyes, you didn't choose that. You didn't choose to be born where you were born. We'd kind of discussed that with the children. There was no right or wrong answer, and looking at all those differences together. The next part was the creative part for the children. So we had given them all a sheet of paper on which there was printed an outline of a person, and their challenge was to depict their own differences on that sheet using lovely coloured oil pastels. So blue eyes, that's quite easy, but if you're left-handed, how do I depict that? That was their creative challenge. The last part of the workshop then was based on this idea of Exquisite Corpse, which was a surrealist kind of game. And normally, one person would do the head, one person do the body, and another person do the legs, and then you open out to see what it looks like. In this case, the children had done the whole body themselves because it was themselves with all their differences. But we took that, so I told them, I'm taking up your bodies and now I'm going to chop them into 3. And the idea was then we're going to move around all of the heads, bodies and legs. And we're not doing this to destroy their artwork. The idea was to kind of underline this randomness of not choosing what differences we have, but also to create a lovely group work of art at the end.
Hi, my name's Keelan, and basically behind me is the artwork we did with Mags in the workshop. So we all got a piece of paper and we designed it to be ourselves with all our differences and quirks. My favourite bit was probably when we saw the finished bit because it was really cool.
Hi, my name's Jamie, and behind me is the artwork that we did with Mags a few weeks ago. And it was really fun the way we coloured each other's differences in, and above our heads, like stuff that we're good at and we like.
We were so lucky to have the fantastic opportunity to complete the Depicting Diversity workshop with Mags Harnett. In today's society, diversity and difference is extremely topical, and it's so important children are given the opportunity to talk about it, make them aware of each other's differences, and most importantly, the respect they should show for each other. Straight from the beginning of the workshop, my 6th class pupils were totally engaged and loved learning all about the different gallery paintings and finally getting the opportunity to complete their own picture. The workshop explores such strong message that every pupil in primary school should get the opportunity to experience. Well done, and a big thanks to Mags, Children's Book Ireland and the National Gallery.